Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, August 12th, 2021. Happy day. I woke up happy day. I woke up feeling great about my position where I was in life. I just was very thankful to get up. Of course, you guys know I kind of soothe my soul with Richard Smallwood's Hold On, Don't Let Go. And I soothed my soul with Richard Smallwood, Thank You. I soothed my soul with James Cleveland's Breathe on Me. I had to get all these things out into my soul that when we began to speak today, my spirit would be happy and everything that came out of my mouth would be positive. Okay, that was my wish. That was my hope. But that's not the way my life is going today. So, my husband is still in the skilled care facility. My boys are still with me. My daughter is out there in the universe doing her thing. And the only thing that I want to bring to the attention of, all of us, period, but especially for those of us that have children, and more importantly, for those of us that have African American children under the age of 12. This is going to be a complicated conversation, but it's one I'm going to suggest that we have. We have got to start speaking to our children about money, especially if we parents are going out to earn the funds to bring back into the household to provide for everyone that lives in this household. There are some rules that come with this process. And I don't know how many of you all began the process. I don't know if we ever started the process. But I know if you've been like me, 75, and have been handling business, let's just say for the last 45 years, 45, 55, 65. I'll give myself 45 hours out there. And between my being 25 and my being 45, I had a lot of credit card debt. And I happen to be one of the fortunate ones that grew up in a household with a father who consistently and religiously created what he called the family budget. And my dad was real serious about it. He had to put things on paper. You have to pay what you put on paper to keep your quote unquote name in good standing. And this is just something I saw him get up and do until the day he died. I, being his daughter, grew up under his same principles. If you have to, if you, well, for me and my father started when I was a kid. He would give my sister and I an allowance every month, once a month. And once a month, my father gave us a check. And he took us to the bank to cash that check. And with those funds, we could spend them any kind of way we felt like. There were only two of us, my sister and myself. We would get our checks the first Monday after the first Sunday. We would be going to the bank at least by that Wednesday. And I'm talking about we were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He would write the check, not only write in his penmanship, he would type the checks out with our names on them, and then he would sign them and give them to each of us. Step 2 was to take us to the bank to cash these checks. And back in those old, I didn't have a credit, I didn't have a driver's license or whatever. But my dad made sure that the folk at the bank knew who we were and bought into the practice that he was trying to teach us. So I've always understood how to create a budget. I've always understood how to balance a budget. And I've always been used to, having funds, depositing funds, and utilizing funds. Plus, truth be known, I worked in the banking system for a lot of years, especially my first young years from 25 to maybe 30, especially working in Texas. In Houston, I think I did all of them. But at the end of the month and the beginning of the first month, I had somewhere between the 25th to the 1st, I had what you call a bill. Or if more importantly, we had a tentative bill. And the way our bills worked, or the way my bills worked, I would put the bill and the amount due on paper every month. And I would check it off as these funds were being used. And the cute thing about my sister and I going to the bank and cashing our checks and using our money, my sister was a great saver. My sister could save her money until, it just dripped off of her. Not me. The moment I got it was the moment I spent it. And then I have to look pitiful until the first of the next month. Well, fast forward, I was the only one in my family to have children, and I have three. And my children are over the age of 12, they're over the age of 20, they're over the age of 30. But I don't think I ever shared with them how bills get paid. I don't think I ever, I, I gave them allowances, but the allowance was built upon the business because we create a business for our children where they would do snow cones and ice cream and cookies every day after school and during the summer. So my kids were used to making money and they really didn't have any problems. They were used to making money, and then the way they spent their money, it was whatever goods were necessary, whatever snow cones or ice cream or whatever we were selling, pickles, hamburgers. I mean, my children did a lot when they were young, growing up, having their own business. So, A, my children were used to being business folk, and B, mom did not ever give them a budget. So now my kids are well into their 30s, 40s, and 50s and don't have a concept of how to utilize money. Or it's a thought in their mind that they know they have to do A, B, C, D, and E, but nothing, no A, B, C, and D is on any paper that requires them to look at this paper and modify these changes if they are to occur through the end of the year. So, although my kids have money and they spend money, I've never seen any of my children sit down with a budget written on paper that puts all of their bills in perspective. And for this, I apologize to my children because it's a key ingredient of how to stay healthy as you navigate the funds that you do bring to the table. Excuse me. So sorry, I need a little water today. At least I got up today and I put my teeth in. I have my glasses on. And I did have a script, but I just, I don't even want to touch the script that I had because it too is changing. And this it's just a lot of stuff out here that grieves me so. I don't want to always present a negative conversation. So, the first part of my conversation today was those of us that have young children, or we have children, and we've never shared with them the opportunity of how to, yes, you're going out making money, but how to manage the money that you make. I'm going to encourage each of us that have children under 12 to please introduce them to a budget, the function of a budget. Let them see something on paper that you have to tell to every month so their lives won't be helter skelter when they grow up and have to manage money. And this is it, I've said I am such a low person. I'm so low on people listening to what I have to say, thinking about what I have to say, processing information, processing whatever it is I have to say until I can drop the ball. But all my heart and all my soul today was to talk to you guys about sharing this concept of a making money, and the next part is saving money, and then the third part is praying your creditors as best you can. I learned a long, 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 long time ago. But the best place to live in these environments that we have created is to live beneath our means. Not above our means, but beneath. I know this is a hard concept because most of us have televisions, and with that TV comes an ad, and with that ad comes a want. And if you see the want and you want the want, then if I have not blown my blood budget, it's about to get blown. So we've not talked to well, first of all, we've not have had the opportunity over a prolonged period of time to create what we call intergenerational wealth. I look at my young people now and I'm proud of them. I am proud of what is her name? Megan Three Stallion and Cardi B, Beyonce and Jay Z. I am proud of you guys because the Kevin Harts of the Don Chele. I never can pronounce that man's name, but you all have been able to acquire millions of dollars. And to the extent that some of you had children, you have now been able to create intergenerational wealth for them. Oh, caveat, as long as we don't blow our money by having foolish turns, buying too many Mercedes and Porsche. So they're only my husband and myself. We have children under the age of 12. Why do I have 24 cars? A Benz, a Lexus, a Cadillac, Porsche, you know how y'all got your places set up. Those of you that have money. And your planes, you know how you buying your planes, and your boats, you know how you paying the money for your boats. And yes, a lot of us have moved into well, not a lot of us. There are some of us, from Oprah to Rihanna, who've been able to move into that $1 billion status. What's my boy, my ball player's name? LeBron James, the Michael Jordans, the Tiger Woods. You've been fortunate enough to move into that $1 million status and just splurge your money like crazy. Okay, fine. Good for you. Some of you have one or two, some have 9 and 10 children. And so those 9 and 10 children, based upon your billions, you're going to have to share, or you're going to have to put some of your wealth into what we call intergenerational wealth building, i.e., my children come up with a leg up and can breathe when they get ready to walk and move into their new lives, because they've learned how to receive money, save money, manage money, and spend money. And they have learned how to manage their wants. So I don't need 10 cars because I can only drive one car at a time. I don't need five multi-million billion dollar houses because I can only live in one house at one time. So that I am watching how you guys are spending your money, but I'm suggesting those of us that have children have to begin to look at what we call intergenerational wealth building, where we have created wealth for ourselves. We wives, husbands, we get to spend these billions any way we see fit. But then once we start having children, we're going to have to start saving. And all I'm suggesting to ourselves as we interact with these children is to teach them about a budget, put it on paper, teach them how to put it on paper, and then look at what you're earning, what you're saving, what you're putting on your bills, and what do you have left to spend. That's kind of like all I have to say about that. Blessings to all of you guys that are out there and are having now, maybe late in life, having to learn how to deal with what we call a budget. And I'm not saying that you have to stay straight, just stick, 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 stick. But the more we stick to the budget, the more we have an idea of how money needs to be spent in our lifetime down the road. So at least begin talking to your children about money. Talk to your children about a budget. Talk to your children about saving. And share if they're going to work and they're going to grind like I did for 30 years. We really need to start putting money aside in what most Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and Mitch McConnell call savings. Whichever way, however way, we need to talk to our children about money. We need to prepare our children to really deal with how money flows and is spent as long as we're staying in the United States of America. That's point one. The second part that tries to keep me happy today, and I know it's going to come out negative when I say it, but this negative misinformation about the vaccines. And I'm just speaking to the individuals that happen to listen to my presentations every day, that listen to these ramblings of an old black woman every day. So I spoke lightly about it yesterday, and I called names. So I'm calling names again today. Those Rand Paul people and those Christian people that are advocating in their churches every Sunday not to get the vaccine. Look, guys, there are 331 million individuals living in what we call the United States of America. We would all like to get up every morning feeling good. And your refusal to get something that may help is hurting the rest of us. I'm just going to ask you gently, kindly, not arrogantly, but to think about the vaccine. Think about getting it. Think about taking it. Think about protecting yourself. Think about protecting your family. My God, I was with one of my young men yesterday, and he had the nerve to say, I've already put 4 of my friends in the ground. And this is a young man under 40. Get up, folks. Look, now, come on. You have to take the politics out of the vaccine. Politics is not going to save you. Politics is not going to save us. And these nasty, nasty, nasty nationalists and segregationalists, oh, and religious people that have bought into, oh, I'm not, you can't make me take this shot. No, I can't make you take it, but your inability to take the shot brings negative vibes, viruses into my community. Those of us that have received the vaccine and are trying to protect ourselves and our family. I am just going to ask those of you that have not received the vaccine to rethink your position because I would like, and I like all of my friends, to stay healthy or as healthy as they possibly can. And one of the avenues that's been given to us to make this happen, of course, are these vaccines. So I'm going to ask you to rethink not getting them and share with all the folk that have not gotten the vaccine. If you can help them get there, get them to the doctor or get them to where shots are still being given. And so you can improve the conditions of your community. That's important too. The other thing, I've been saying this the last 3 or 4 days. I am tired of men trying to govern what goes on with women. Can't do that. Not your body. You have no right, men, to be saying anything that negatively impacts the health of women. And so I'm going to ask again that women come together, get this consensus, which we know how to make happen. Because those women, those of us that are in relationships and that have children, understand how to negotiate, how to bargain, how to share, how to internalize someone else's thoughts, how to receive the information, how to put it in these, oh, what I call lids. And at 75, I have so many lids open, it's pitiful. And at 75, I'm learning that I need to close a lot of them. So that little, the budget thing, I'm having to close that lid. I create mine every day. But as I'm speaking with my children, I'm giving them the opportunity to share on paper how it works. And then it becomes up to them to make sure they understand how finances work and they can get their lives into better shape. But now back to these men speaking about what they are not going to let happen to women because they are creating laws, not only bills, amendments. They're creating, oh my God, voter suppression laws, voter rights laws, George Floyd laws. They're creating all these laws that are of a detriment. I say all the time that the black woman has been the mule up for a long time. And I personally, at 75, I'm tired of being a mule. And there's some understandings that I'm just not going to be good with. There's some understandings that are going to negatively impact me that I now find out I got to come out of my shell and ask the women that are in my little world, hey, let's look at these things. Let's come to a consensus. Let's join forces and let's figure out how to move through these gates. And I shared on yesterday, I don't even know where I was, but I know it was in the 12002 something Willcrest. I don't even know what part of town that is from Houston. But yesterday was my first opportunity to see so many poor white people on the streets begging for money in Houston, Texas. This homeless population is growing. And let me just say, they're not all black. So, women, this is the way I do it. I say, black women, brown women, white women, women of color, poor women, women across the board whose needs are not being met, therefore making them vulnerable and suffering. We're going to have to all join forces to improve the conditions of these individuals. We're going to have to work together. Women, we're going to have to come together to make it right. We're going to have to do the right thing. We're going to have to win the right agenda. And we're going to have to silently, overtly save this nation. Because look, white men, you had your chance and you blew it. You decided to make your goal the salvation of white folk and the salvation of white children at the expense of everybody else. Unfortunately, this has to stop. Drinking water, I apologize. This, there really is not I won't say a moral majority out there, all right, but we need to create some kind of model of how we all need to come together for this thing called living in America. Joining our forces to improve the material conditions of our communities' lives. Yeah, struggling is here. Struggling is hard. Struggling helps us to grow. And I guess I have to say every day, there's nothing nice about racism. And so each of you all that have the opportunity to get up white every day, going to need you to understand that you don't run anything right now. Except the bells that you're pulling to prohibit everybody else. But in the end, there are more of me than there are of you. There are more people of color. There are more brown. There are more black. There are more poor. There are more across the board. And somehow we're going to have to look at all these various subgroups that come here to our tables and understand that the table is huge, that the dishes on the table are a lot, and that, truth be known, we all have a right to sit at this table and enjoy the food that's being called a democracy or living in America. I woke up happy today, but I had to talk to you guys about money and how we pay. I don't know where we got this idea not to teach our kids how to manage money. And I guess it's because, like me, I came out of slavery. I came out of Jim Crow, so used to not having until when I was able to earn money, I forgot about saving because I love to spend. I thoroughly enjoyed spending money when I had money. But now at an old age, I see, oh, that 10% them church folk were talking about sure would have looked good for the my folk in my kitty, given to me every first, second, third, fourth, fifth Sunday. And do you realize that these mega preachers, these Joel Osteens and Creflo Dollar and T.D. Jakes, and I cannot get the man, oh, what's his name, out of San Antonio, the big fat one, John Hagee and his sons. You guys do realize that when these particular Jesse Duplantis, Kenneth Copeland, I already said Creflo Dollar, I already said TDJ, oh my man, Fountain of Praise, and the other one that comes on 2:30. Looking right at him. But you guys do realize that when these men wake up on Monday morning, their kids can get anything they ask for. Dad, can I have $1? Can I have 10? Can I have 100? Some of them got something on their plates every Monday morning because their fathers who were preachers got money every Sunday. And so it was a good day for a preacher's child come Monday morning because they always got some cash. So, and I can't hate the player. I got to look at the game, and I knew that we need to review how we play this game. So let's rethink this thing called finances. And I know I could have gone to the books and told you how to save and A B C D E, but just we need to just look at this thing called money and how it's used and how much of it is used. Just keep a foot on our finances and a foot on our necks to where we don't wake up happy every day. And happiness takes work. We can get there. I pushed myself this morning to get up happy. I'm pushing myself to end this podcast piece today with a happy train of thought. I just want us to think about teaching our kids how to get, save, manage money, and to talk about the vaccines and how now we all need to do our part it just needs to be more than oh, these piddly amount of people in the United States that have bought into the vaccine. And then I just have to look at men and how in your ineptness, 245 years, you've had to do something different in a positive light, and you chose not to. You chose to be selfish. You chose to take the money, get rich off of the money, and spend the money on you and your household, period, at the expense of everybody else. We need to rethink how we're allowing individuals to creep into our minds and get us to think negatively, to do negatively and not do the right thing. How can you men think about messing with my body? Not only giving me an allowance if you want to give me anything, which is why we got out there and started to work anyway, because you men are cruel and it's nasty. And I'm just fed up with the nastiness. You even have my brothers being nasty to their women and their children. You're not going to get out of this experience being white. You're going to have to share because there are more than just white folk in America. And truth be told, you are the minority. You just have your foot on the money and you're using your foot on this money in a negative way. So sooner or later, women, we're going to have to stand up and admit that no man can govern a woman without her consent. So right now, I, at 75, am taking away your consent. I no longer give it because you don't know how to use it. And I've gotten tired of being the mule. So, women, and I can put white women in here because your men have been nasty to you too. And they have you thinking, well, anyway, they've just been nasty. But white women and black women and brown women and women of color and poor women and women across the board whose needs are not being met because they are vulnerable and are suffering. Once we get our voices together, we will have to change the dynamics of the vibes that are out there now. Let's stop now. I wish each of you a very, 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 very happy Thursday evening. Move with simplicity. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Put one foot in front of the other and keep pressing, moving forward. We're joining Dr. Reverend William Barber. That those of you all that are in power right now are going to have to protect us. You're going to have to respect us. And you're going to have to pay us. Because we're no longer willing to navigate these waters under the conditions that you have out here now. Yours in liberty.